will be recorded, so that's brilliant. It's a good job I put these triggers in, isn't it? Your microphones are on mute, so if you do have any questions, please put them into the Q&A. Now, there's a high likelihood that I will, I won't be able to look at the questions as I'm going through because there's a hell of a lot of information, but I'll definitely get back to them all at the end, so we can go through that then. So any questions that you've had, please just drop them into the Q&A. The hand up part of the session, I can't really use that just because I'm doing it on my own today. So in terms of any questions, anything you want to ask, just please put it into the Q&A side of it. And we'll do all the answers at the end, which is perfect. Hopefully we can still hear you. I had a little problem. Is anyone getting this problem? Hello? Can you still hear me? Do me a favour, can you go into the Q&A? Okay. Okay. I'm back on the video. I just want to check that you can hear me. And I'm hoping that you're not getting an echo, because I am. Right. Okay, are we back in? Can I just check now that there's no echo? Okay, perfect. I'm not sure if my video's on or not, but anyway, the whole thing's playing up, but we're going to crack on and we're going to nail it anyway, so that's fine. So, in terms of this, the agenda of what we're going to go through, a little bit of an intro, which is what I'm doing now. I'm then going to get stuck into talking through the mind map. Every single thing that you see, you'll get a copy of via the Wirral Chamber of Commerce. We'll obviously do a Q&A at the end, but I will ask you for some feedback where possible. Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. There's a few dangers in this, in the fact that if we open too quick, we know that can cause a problem. We know all the furlough rules are changing as of the 1st of July, so you can bring staff back part-time. Now, the way that this works is, let's say, for instance, you bring someone back and they have a 40-hour week and you get them to do 20 hours with you, you would have to pay 50% of their wages. Now, what you'd have on the other end of that is that the furlough would then pay the other 40%, which is their half of their 50, if that makes sense, which means that the customer would then get 90% for doing 50% of their work. But obviously that's a cost and it comes back to the business. If you're keeping people on furlough, then it gets extended out. And obviously, I think it's on the 1st of August, you've got to start paying national insurance. Then in September, you've got to pay 10%. And in October, you've got to pay 80%, which slightly goes against that. We are going to pay the COVID furlough payment at 80% until October, like the government said. But that's the way it is now. So the gamble that you've got to take is the gamble of bringing staff back and maybe only having a smaller amount of custom base to start with. Again, we've got a lot of studies and a lot of things saying so. And the second part for me is the danger of not being ready. So financially is a worry, but of not being ready physically within the building, which is what we're going to talk through today. How this started with me, when furlough kicked in, I work in the leisure industry mainly. when furlough kicked in, I had a couple of weeks off with my children, and then I decided that I needed to come back. I rang up a couple of my customers like Liverpool Council, St Helens Council, and a few others, and very quickly realised they never had a plan in place. I said, do me a favour, give me a couple of hours. I put one together. I started to present it to them, and I quickly knew that they didn't know what they were doing and they didn't have a plan. So this has now grown. This plan was then taken to the government. I've had the Chartered Institute come back to me, and I've basically done all this free of charge just to try and get businesses back up and running during this time. So I've had help off certain different companies. It's endorsed by the Welsh government, the Scottish government, and a few others. So hopefully you'll see that it's hopefully it's going to be good enough for you. So what will you get? Everything that you see. Every single thing that you see throughout the whole process will be yours. What I'm going to do is, obviously, I'm going to give all your details. I'm not going to keep any of this for marketing materials or anything like that. I'm going to hand it straight to the Chamber of Commerce, and they're going to send a follow-up email with the links and the clicks in and the things that you need. So the mind map plan that I'm going to talk through, that will be converted into an Excel guide, and then there's a few templates and guides. So I'll show you them very quickly in a minute. All I expect of you is please ask questions. Please don't use to put your hand up. That's my fault. And normally I have a lady called Dawn Ann helping me, but it's just me today. But go to the Q&A, put your questions in there. If there's any best practice or things or ideas that you've come up with or you think that you might be starting to use, then again, add them in. It might help someone else. And try and think about the help that you're going to need in order to get this up and running, to get yourselves out. So let's have a look. Let me come off that and let me go onto our product map or our mind map. So there's a couple of things that I'm trying to cover. So I'm trying to cover guidelines. So now guidelines are very important, but all guidelines they're the least you need to do to be able to get into your centre or into your sites safely without people dying. So guidelines, literally, that's all they do. It's not any indication of how to make your business more profitable or how to help your business since you've lost lots of money. It's not going to help any of that at all. If anything, it's probably going to hinder, because it's going to bring in more costs and various different things. So people get stuck on guidelines, but this is about business sense stroke guidelines. So anything you see on this map with a red flag next to it is a must do. Anything with the yellow flag, you should do it. Anything with the green flag is seen as a nicety and you could do it. Anything with a little blue dot, so if I just open up one of these, you'll see this one here is about first aid cover. So that the little blue dot relates that there needs to be some retraining there. And I'll explain the retraining as we go through it. Again, where there's decisions to be made, there's a little green flag here or a little green pen. And what that basically is, these are the decisions that you're going to need to make in your business. And last but not least, anything where it has this little star, this is good business sense to do this. So it makes a hell of a lot of business sense to do it, but it's not in the guidelines. So let's get stuck in. Let me close the ones down I'm not talking about yet, and we'll go from here. So first decisions first. In terms of guidelines and PPE, you do not have to provide any PPE whatsoever unless it's for cleaning. So that's the guidelines that have come out from PHE. Now, there's a big, massive balance here between what PPE, what the guidelines are and what is going to increase public confidence. Now, in order to increase public confidence, if you look at any advert on the news, there'll be people in PPE. If you look at any advert on social media, it will show you people in PPE. Me putting PPE on as a member of staff is to protect my customers. Now, it also will protect the staff, but the idea behind it is that we've got to put the staff first. So let's have a look. Now, what we've got in here, you've got to decide what PPE you're going to use. Like I said before, for cleaning, it's whatever needed for the chemicals that you're using. So you'll probably need visors, aprons, gloves, masks. Also, if you're doing any sort of like physios or beauty therapists or any things like that, where there's physical touch, you'd need an apron and gloves per client. So they can be thrown away afterwards. So that's what we need to consider. Obviously, for shops, bars, anything else where you've got tills, etc., you've got to look at, do you wear visors? It's much cheaper to put screens in. I'll tell you that now, and it's much more comfortable for your staff. So it's about putting screens in there. If some people have already got these, some people haven't. So obviously, I was put in touch with the Wirral Chamber of Commerce by a gentleman called Dave Goodman, who's on today. And he's helping out the Chamber of Commerce by with this company approved PPE. So they got some bits and pieces in there, absolutely brilliant. I'll show you some more bits and pieces that they've got as we go through. But you've really got to decide how much you want to protect your staff, and this is key. All the organisations that protect the staff in Germany, in Sweden, in the Netherlands, where they've got back a little bit quicker than us, where they've looked after the staff and they've wore PPE, obviously things have moved a hell of a lot quicker, and customer confidence is now up to about 80 to 85% of income for them, only after 4 to 6 weeks. So it really does make sense that you really look at, I understand guidelines, but this is about the public confidence, and do you care about your staff enough to not want them to die? That might seem a little bit harsh, but that's sort of what the balance is. So yeah, you can see here with masks and things like that, again, there's various deals and bits and pieces that they can do you. And obviously with hand sanitizer. Now for hand sanitizer, let's say for instance, I've got someone and they're a cleaner. Well, the cleaner might be able to walk and go and wash the hands at any stage. So they're fine. You don't need to give them hand gel. If I've got someone who's stuck in a certain position and they might not be able, every hour they might not be able to go and wash their hands, like maybe a receptionist or whatever it may be, then again, I will have to provide them with hand gel so they can wipe themselves down, etc. At the moment, things like creches and things like that are just not open unless it's for, we know all the problems the schools are having, so I'm not even going to go down that route. Now, this next thing is a really key thing. Now, imagine I've got a pub, or imagine I've got somewhere where people can sit, or where they're going to come in, or I've got a membership base. The idea behind it, I know a lot of people in the leisure industry have done this, where they basically said, do you want to buy a welcome back safe kit? So instead of physically buying and supplying all the products themselves, what they've done is they've sold it to the customers so they can look after their own table and their own things that they touch. So it's got wipes, hand gel, masks. A pack for that would cost £6.94. If you sold it for £10, you'd make £3.06 instead of costs that you may have had. So that may be something that some of you can consider. Again, all it's a matter of doing is, the only thing I'd say is if you're going to go down the PPE route, or you're going to go down this, the routes that we have to with providing hand sanitisation, please get your orders in now. I can't stress this enough, is that so many people are waiting, and you can't afford to. Honestly, you've got to try and get out there and be careful of the people who are just racking prices up. If you're going to use PPE, where do your staff get it from? How often does it need changing, and how do you reorder? So people will be talking about 3-ply masks versus the washable masks. Now, there is science about the 3-ply masks being more effective, but there's also, it's going to be more costly for you due to the fact that they need to be thrown away after a certain period of time. What some people are doing in the medical professions, like in doctors' surgeries, is they're wearing a neoprene one underneath a 3-ply. So that way you don't need to change them as often, because it's not going to get as wet and not going to cause as many issues. In terms of advice, well, when your staff come back, you've got to train your staff on, what to do if they feel sick, whether to come in or not, etc. Now, these posters I've already given you, they're going to be in the pack that you get at the end. These are from the World Health Organization, so you can print these out, put them on your wall, and you can use them to train your staff. Again, you're going to need to educate customers. This is key. So there's another poster here. It's the 7 steps to prevent the spread of COVID from World Health Organization. Again, you've got to look at making sure the staff know that they can't do handshakes. I think everyone thought it was funny doing the banging of elbows and all that, 2 weeks before we all got proper put into close down. It's just no touching. That's where we're at. Just 2 meters for now and no touching. If you have staff rooms in your organisation, then what some people are saying is just close them, get rid of them, don't use them, please. Because then staff can't group in there and it won't cause any problems. If you've got a bigger organisation and it's in, you may have a receptionist in there, you may have a cleaner in there, you may have a serviceman in there, because you can have 3 people at any one time. So you may need to go to some sort of timetable system. What most of retail have done, who obviously went back quite early, some of the larger shops like your spas and your garages and all these types of places, is they've been asking their staff to have their lunch in their car. It's important that a break is away from the workplace, and obviously you don't want them to put them in any danger. So if they go to the car, they'll be fine. Any meetings that you have, can you turn them into virtual? I'm sure you've already done this. I'm sure that this is exactly what you've been doing anyway. In terms of when you furlough or unfurlough staff and bring them back, please think of staff ratios. There's a high likelihood that you're going to have higher staff ratios now than what you had beforehand, because there's more cleaning to do, there's more checks to do. The thing that's going to cause you the biggest issues is the queues. So it's how are you going to do queue management? You know, how many people are allowed in your shop? Again, before you work this out, please wait till Monday, because I believe there is new guidelines coming out which may bring it down to either 1.5 or maybe even 1. Now, we also know that this is not for health. It's not health science behind this move. It's purely to get more people into businesses. So again, you know, if it says a meter, but you can still do 2, then that's absolutely fine. Please still do it, because that is, you've got a 50% less chance in 2 meters away of catching it than you have in 1. How are you going to break up groups? So where can groups of people accumulate? So obviously in pubs, they can, you know, people standing around the bar and things like that. So the likelihood is you'd have something standing by the bar so they can't actually get to the bar and lean on it anymore, etc., etc. You must have seen these type of things done in various shops where they put a table in front of where you'd normally stand for it in the garage or whatever it may be. Now, when you're bringing your teams back, so let's just say, for instance, you're the type of organisation that's got at least 21 staff. I'm only using 21 just to make it easier for me. But I've got 21 staff and I bring them back. Please consider putting them into teams. So team A, B, and C. So the A's would only ever come into contact with A's. The B's would only come into contact with B's, and C's with C's. Then, if someone comes down with COVID in one of the teams, you've still got at least 2/3 of your business who are going to be safe and who don't need to go into quarantine. So that's a key factor. Please consider making sure that you can group them into teams so we can see who's being active and who's not. When I used to work in McDonald's all those years ago, I had 6 years of the pleasure of working in the Golden Arches. But when I did, we used to have timers. If we worked in the kitchen, we had a timer to wash our hands every 30 minutes. Now, the guidelines just says wash frequently. Please come up with what you deem as frequent enough. I would say anything over an hour is not too good. And also, it will depend on how many interactions and how many things you're having with people. But you're going to need the staff are going to need a trigger, because it's not going to be something normal for them. And please consider, if you have any older staff who are in the quarantine age or are in the, I keep forgetting the word that they're using. It's basically the ones who are in danger of catching it. What are you going to do with them? Because they might not be able to come back. And if they do come back and anyone has any sort of COVID in, even though they might be in Group C, they might have to not be there because this could, you know, they're in extreme danger of their life. So anyone with older staff, you've really got to consider how you're going to treat those and how they can do it. And there may be certain customers that you won't even allow in, just like supermarkets and various different things have done. So can you see we've only done staff? There's going to be a lot to speak about, isn't there? So, hey, let's get ready and let's go. In terms of customers, again, it says in the guidelines that it says you can provide hand gel or the ability to be able to wash their hands. So what this is basically saying is if you're in a facility where there's a sink and there's a toilet where they can go and wash their hands, then you've covered yourself. You don't need to provide it. Now, is that good service or not? That's for you to decide. Me personally, I think having a tub on the way in so people can wash their hands is the best thing. But please consider how it won't go missing. No personal towels to be used. So obviously this bit came from gyms, but if there's any of your businesses where they may bring their own things to wipe or clean things, then we don't want them doing that. The customers need to know what their expectations are. What do you want them to clean up after them? Do you want them to clean the table down and bring the glasses back? If it's a bar, if it's a hairdresser's, literally, what do you want them to do? You know, what do you want them to come in wearing? Do you want them to wear a mask themselves? If they don't know what to expect, they can't do it. So some way you need to communicate this to your customers. Now, I went and had a chat with, as well as I've done a load of stuff looking at Sweden, Germany, Netherlands, America, but I've also been to meet store managers from supermarkets. So I managed to do Tesco's and Asda, both really large sites. And I was asking them what are the biggest problems that they get. And one of the biggest problems they get is dealing with conflict. Now, people are going to be peeved if they got to wait. You know, look at the weather today. It was all right when it was nice and sunny. That was fine. But standing out when it's windy and it's raining and it's horrible, it's not the same. So, you know, it is going to have a knock-on effect to us. So you've really got to be strong in dealing with it. I've done some bits and pieces on this, and I've got them on YouTube clips. So rather than me saying it all again, I'll direct you to the YouTube clips and the feedback that we give with the Chamber of Commerce. Again, what are you going to do for them? Is it hand wipes, car parking machines? You know, are they yours? Are they contactless, etc.? What it is, you know, if you're a members organisation, does that mean that you're going to possibly get them to sign a declaration when they come back in? So you are welcome if you adhere to these rules, and I'll show you some examples a little bit further down. We can see here door wedges. Now, where possible, can you wedge doors open? Now, I go into my spa every day, and it annoys me that they don't put a door wedge on it, because that means that, let's say 2,000 customers goes in, that's 4,000 touches, because I've got to touch it on both sides. Now, yes, I can try and touch it with my foot to go in, but coming out, I can't hook it with anything. So can we start looking for door wedges and things like that? Obviously, fire doors, I'm not telling you to open them unless you've got the proper automatic closers on them. So, but yeah. Any places where people may bring spectators, again, this is a key factor. So we need to limit it to one, a bit like, you know, like the supermarket said, they don't want 2 people going in, they'd rather just have 1 person pushing the trolley. We're going with the same type of thing. And then you've got little things like bike racks and things you have outside your sites. Now, again, what are you going to do with those? So bins outside, are you going to, you know, empty them more often? Are you going to do what the council did and say that we're not going to really empty them as much? What's your plan of attack? Now, there's a little thing on here called bin bag training, and I'm just going to, when I was in McDonald's, I got bin bag training, and people always laugh at me. They always laugh at the fact that, how can you train someone to do bin bags? But this is what they did. So when I went in, they trained me how to do it. At the start of the day, I go to my bin bag and I put my bin bag in, tie it on the side, get it tight and get it in. I then do that another 7 times. So there's 8 bin bags in to start the day. Now, whenever it was busy in McDonald's, we used to go and take the bin bag and just put it in the back. Done. Next. But I go to lots of organisations where this is a job. Now, if you don't think your bins are going to get full, why have you got a bin? And secondly, do something about it. Make sure that you're in control of it. So I can guarantee you that your McDonald's did the study that 7 times was the most time that the bins were getting emptied per day or per shift pattern. So what they did per shift pattern, they made sure there was 8 bin bags in there. So it's looking at little things like that we can train in to make it easier for people. The next phase is obviously one-way routes. So you've got to sort of have these. These are really handy to break up where we've got groups of people where they could be. Now, with your one-way routes, it's a bit like turning your site into IKEA. Now, if you've ever been to IKEA, you probably end up buying stuff that you don't need because you think, oh, look at that. So it's a very clever technique, but we're going to have this now for a couple of weeks, maybe months, where we can get people to walk through the flow of things. So what can we do to make sure that we're optimizing each of those spaces that they're going to walk past? But one-way routes are going to be absolutely key. In terms of health and safety for staff, so again, first aid's changed. So at the minute, any of your first aiders need to be retrained, and at the minute, you can't do mouth-to-mouth compression. You can't do mouth-to-mouth. It's only compressions. So the key behind it is yeah, if you can please make sure that all the staff have that on their record, that they've been trained, so they know that. And obviously, you've got to start doing risk assessments for every aspect of your business. Now, one of the tools that you're going to get from me is this. So I'm going to show you this very, very quickly just to give you an idea. But the idea behind it is that every single thing that I'm showing you now, you can see here one-way routes, maps to explain, all this type of stuff here. You can start to see this is, I've turned the whole mind map into a plan for you. So you can allocate this out to your staff, you know, start dates, end time, so you can start to monitor and make sure that you're getting this done. There's a little thing I've done here for when you're ordering your PPE. I'm assuming you're going to order because it doesn't make sense not to unless you follow guidelines. But hey, that's your choice, not mine, which is fine. So this template here for the PPE is basically saying, you know, how much do I need to order? What type will I need to order? I suggest that you have a chat with Dave or whoever it is you're going to be using for your PPE. Find out what you're going to need, and then we can populate this for you. There's a bit of a must, should, could here for the guidance. Here's the example risk assessment for you. So, you know, it's about hand washing. It's got about cleaning. It's got about social distancing. It's got about wearing of gloves and PPE. What happens if someone gets the symptoms? If you've got drivers. So I've tried to give you as much of a generic one as possible, and hopefully that'll get you started, so we can speed that little bit up for you. This next bit is really key. So this is a COVID outbreak plan. So what happens if one of your staff gets it? I don't know whether you know this, but in B&Q, they didn't do the A, B, and C thing. 2 of their staff got COVID and they had to close the whole store down again. Now that is crippling. That is going to cause you severe issues. So please just look at that and make sure you've got a plan for it. So when it happens, how are you going to contact staff? What are you going to tell them? When you send people home, what are you going to do? Do you need to close down part of your facility? So imagine I've only got 3 people in and one of them's ill. What goes first? You're obviously going to have to then deep clean. I'm going to talk about cleaning in a second. And you've officially, by law, got to report the sickness. This is part of the track and trace stuff. So by law, you definitely have to do that. And like we said before, make sure they're all aware of the compression thing. Now, we've gone through a lot. I'm going to have a little breather while I have a little tiny drink. Okay, I've seen a question in there. I'm going to come back to that one later because I think I'm going to cover it during the session. So, we're on to cleaning standards. And there's a lot of sort of bugbears. There's a lot of things that we're sort of doing. So, I'm going to explain it. Now, you need to have a look at regularity. So this is, again, what gets touched and how often. So obviously if it gets touched more, it needs to be cleaned more. So I've just tried to pick out a few different things in here. So, you know, general surfaces like desks and things like that, phones, screens, tills, card machines, doors. Now it's everything. It's absolutely everything. But I was just trying to put things in that people might not think about. For the customers, doors, shampoos or toilets or lifts or vending machines or any of these different things. It's about looking at every single thing you do. Now, the best way to do this is walking through it, and I'll talk you through that at the end again. So you've really got to highlight. Now, the biggest frustration with this is that in terms of cleaning, you should have been cleaning properly beforehand. We used to have viruses, we used to have bacteria, and we used to have dirt. So theoretically, it should be business as normal. But unfortunately, we know that in some places, it wasn't happening the way that it should. Again, in terms of cleaning training, I don't know what your cleaning training looks like. I've got no idea. But, you know, does it teach me what cloths to use, how to use the kit properly, what's expected for every single area, etc. Now, again, in this other document here, I put a cleaning document together just to get you kick-started if you haven't got one. So what type of checks, what type of equipment would you need? What would you use colour coding for? So what mops and buckets and all that match, etc. Where do people stand? What would they do when they're standing? Also, this is about cleaning standards. So what should you expect of the toilet and squeegeeing and brushing and toilet cubicles, urinals, mirrors, blah, blah, blah. There's loads. So it's just to give you a little bit of a bump start on if you haven't got those documents, but I'm hoping you have. What I'd be saying to people now, especially in this day and age, is e-learning cleaning's good for e-learning. So let's say, for instance, I've got to go and clean a toilet. For me to write how to do that in a manual might take me ages. So in order to speed up your training, we've got our little friend. So what happens is I turn this on, I start a video, I go up to the cupboard, I say, this is the code for the cupboard, this is the materials I'm going to use, let's make sure that I restock it. Then I go to do the job, I clean myself, I show exactly what I do this bit, I do under here, I do this bit, I do this bit, stop. I've now got a training video, and it took me a little tiny bit longer than it actually took me to do the task. You know, once you've got 50 of them for all, or whatever it is that you need for all the different tasks, you've got some really good training in place. In terms of proposed deep cleaning, I asked the question, what is a deep clean? And this came back, you know, is it when someone uses a cloth rather than just using the hand? Well, no, there's a definition. The definition is when you clean to get rid of all or as much bacteria, viruses or dirt as possible, then let it air dry, and then you disinfect. So most cleaners that you buy from the shops for home will tell you that it disinfects at the same time. But what a deep clean is when you do these separately, because the cleaning has to air dry and then you disinfect afterwards. Now, you've got to look at things that people touch. So again, leaflet holders, notice boards, lockers. Can you see me caveat here? I've just gone building in general because it's everything. Again, it's absolutely everything. Now, fog cleaning, you can see this is a green flag and not a red flag. Yeah. Perfect. So you can see this is a green flag, not a red flag. Now, what this means is that you don't have to do it. You don't have to fog. But I would suggest if you are going to fog, please video it and please get it on social media. please put some sort of video, goes, look what we're doing to make sure this place is safe here. Because anything you can do to improve the public confidence is going to have a huge difference between maybe 40% of business and maybe 60 to 80 within the first 2 to 4 weeks of you opening. So public confidence is absolutely key in this whole process. So if you are going to do fog cleaning, get it videoed. If you're not going to do it, then just show. You go and have a look on any social media, any organisation that's put videos on showing how to. I can show you. I've got some clips from health centres, but they are valid for you, but you might not deem them as so. But it's just to show you. It's people in masks go and look what we've done. We've got masks on. It's fine. We're comfortable. It's fine. We're going to make sure you're safe. We've done this fogging. We've done this deep cleaning. These are the new procedures we brought in, and they're doing little videos and little clips on Facebook, and it really, really goes a long way. Sanitisation stations, so you have to provide the ability for people to be able to wipe stuff. So again, what does that look like? Is it some tissues, and is it a spray gun? The spray gun's got to have certain stickers on, caution, all that type of stuff. Or what's this station going to look like? Some of the stuff that they're doing in leisure is brilliant. So they've got cloths, they've got wipes, they've got the hand gels, they've got it all built in on these little things, so you can't rob anything, which is key, because everywhere where you've opened it out, it ends up going missing. This next bit is a bugbear of mine. It's checking the checks. So I hate it in organisations when they just sign stuff off. I was in an organisation doing some consultancy the other week, and I go around and check what they're doing and what they're not doing in bits and pieces. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, this organisation was that good, they'd already signed off the 10 o'clock cleaning checks. Genius. They were ahead of the game. They were brilliant. Now, when I went and did the late afternoon checks with them, at 3:30, they still hadn't done the 3 o'clock checks, but it was signed off at 4:30 when we finished. So that's exactly what I'm on about. I just want to show you something very, very quickly. This is something that I use to check cleanliness standards. It's called Fresh Check, and basically you spray it onto the surface. And I don't know whether you can see it, but there's a little colour guide that I'm just spinning past now. So it goes from green to orange up to red. Now that highlights how much bacteria is in a certain place. So what I'd be doing on the check of the check. Now this little tiny bottle here cost me 48 quid, right? So it's not cheap. But I will get probably 150 uses out of this because I'll get that many sprays. So the idea behind it, for 48 quid, you'd probably be able to check the checks. And make sure that the certain things are being done to a certain standard. I don't sell that stuff. It's nothing to do with me. So please don't think I'm pushing someone. It's just the cheapest way to check bacteria that I've found. Time for tasks. So imagine you've got a room, and that room is 1,500 meters squared. Well, it can't be done in 10 minutes. So please, that's what's got to change. We've got to start doing things properly. So when you're looking at your cleaning plans, break it down by size. Like I said, I put some templates in there to get you started. Okay, that's the boring bit out of the way. Let's get on to the good bit. Is the good bit in COVID? I'm not sure, but hey, let's find out. So, COVID checks. Now, you've got to report sickness. So anyone that comes in sick, or any staff that comes in sick, we have to report it. Track and trace will probably have people calling your organisation saying, right, somebody came in the other day and they had such and such, so you're going to have a plan of what you're going to do for it. But you've got to report anything you do. Like we said, I've done some risk assessments for you. You've got them, so they're fine. This sign here, this yellow sign that I'm showing you, this was a welcome if sign. Now, of course, you would cater yours. I'm going to try and work with the Chamber of Commerce, so they might be able to produce one that everyone can use to an extent. It's a bit like the floor signage or the spacing markers. It makes sense if we have one type and we all use it, rather than 20 odd different organisations all going creating 20 different versions just because it looks nice with branding. And I'll come through the branding issue with these stickers and bits and pieces later as well. So yeah, welcome signs, staff's returning to work. Do they understand isolation? Has it been recorded? And are you going to test your staff that they understand COVID when they come back? So it might be, if somebody walks in and they're sweating, what would you do? Now it's very hard that, because you might ask them a certain question. Someone's got this funny cough, or someone's come up to you and said, I'm not feeling too well. So we've got to sort of make sure the staff know how to deal with it. Now we're now getting on to what is deemed the sexy stuff, but it's thermometry check. So as people walk in, we do a thermometry check. Now in Germany, this is working very well, but they're also wearing masks, etc. One of the biggest issues we're having at the minute is other countries have opened up, and we're trying to use them as comparisons, but we're not following half the rules that they had. So it's like comparing apples with pears and expecting to get the same result. So please try not to do that where possible. But thermometry checks, I know I don't know anyone that's doing this as of yet, but I'm sure some will. The handheld ones that you get, I don't know. I think I found when I started trying to train this into people that imagine someone says, I've just ran across the car park, or I've just ran from somewhere to come in and that's why I'm hot. You're now asking your staff to become doctors. As test results come in, might you want your members or your staff or your customers or whatever to bring in the proof? Thermal imaging, 15 grand, not going to happen. And how are you going to audit yourselves? So we know, I was on a call the other day with Visit Britain, and they're going to audit a lot of people. So again, I built something into the pack here. So I work with a company called Pro Insight, they've got about 25,000 people in the UK who do mystery shopping for them. And these are the types of things that you might want to look at in terms of the new changes or the things that would be checked via government. Also, it's just a little tiny word of warning. The media cannot wait to catch us to prove the government was wrong to let us open up. So please, they're going to jump all over it. You don't know who the media are. It can be anyone with a camera, and then everyone's got them on them. So please, yeah, just do it right. It makes much more sense. Okay, reception measures or general staff measures. So the biggest issues you're going to have are preventing groups and queuing. Now, all this feedback came from Tesco's, and I'm going to give you the 3 major points that they give me at the end. But for queuing, you need to have space where to queue. It's absolutely key. Having spacing and markings on the floor. You know, when we first went into the supermarkets, they had sellotape everywhere. I don't know whether you noticed, but that didn't work. Yeah, 2 people walked over and it had gone. It's not a valid way of actually doing this. You need something that's physically going to stick properly, and it needs to have non-slip abilities as well. So yeah, you know how it goes. That's how they roll, isn't it? So you need to have your where to queue, the spacing, what you're going to do when issues arise. So who's going to deal with it, and have they been trained to for the conflict management? What are your capacity levels? So are you going to click in, click out? Now, I don't know whether you've just noticed, there's been an article recently that Aldi have just got these traffic light systems, and they cost about 750 quid, which is dear, but it's nowhere near as dear as them having a member of staff on. So I'm just going to do some very, very quick maths just to see whether this is something that you think that they should or shouldn't do. So let's have a look. Let's say, for instance, you're open from, let's make it quite short hours. Let's say you're open from 9 till 5, which obviously comes in as 8 hours a day. And let's make that 7 hours a week. It's 56 hours. So 56 times someone on £10 an hour is per week is £560. So to have one member of staff for 1 week, it's going to cost you £560 man in the door. And to get the traffic light systems, it's got, who people can't argue with, which makes it a little bit easier, is around about £700, £800. So it's definitely something that you might want to consider. The 3 meters squared, that is still right now, but as of Monday, I don't think that will be right, because I think that's part of what's going to be getting updated. What it's getting updated, they're really struggling to update it because there's no science to prove that it's beneficial to come closer. But we know as businesses, you know, whether we can only have 30% of business or 70% of business coming through the door due to the space that we have is key for our livelihoods and how we get on. So that's why there's a big argument between businesses and health. And we've got to try and find the balance. So hopefully they'll know on Monday what that is. What's your flow count? So how many people can go into certain areas if you've got a bigger area? So imagine I'm somewhere like Leasowe Castle, you know, are there certain areas that you're going to zone off, or is it all what comes through the front door? Now, I might let 100 people through the front door because I've got space all over the building for them, but they might all be in one place. So unless you've managed the flow, then that could become an issue for you. Now, if possible, this is the one thing is, I don't know whether you've seen it, but when B&Q opened up, this was the one in Chester, they had a queue for 2.5 miles. Right now, is there any way with your product that you can make it booking only? You know, like if you're a pub, could you do they have to book a table and they have to tell you how long they're going to be there for? So when that finishes, you can then, you know, give it a wipe over and someone else can have that table. You know, in your pub or your area, are you going to do service only for a while? Because that way we stop all the customers walking around and we just control the staff who are doing it. So we've really got to start looking at how you do these different things within your organisations. In terms of social distancing, I've got a guide in there. The one I've give you was based on this one that's in here is the retail one. So this is the retail guidelines, but I'm covering everything that's in it. So by all means, I'm going to give you a copy, but it's already covered. Where possible, can we make it cashless? Now, can we go from cashless to one step further? Can we go contactless? The contactless rate's now gone up to £45, so hopefully that may help. Where we have kiosks or vending machines where there may be buttons they've got to press, how's that going to be wiped down in between each customer? Now, I don't know whether you've noticed, but banks haven't bothered with this. So you can go to any cash machine in the high street and they've done nothing. Yeah, but they're still open and no one's given them any grief. But with you, you're looking after your staff, so please just consider it. If you have a touch screen, again, please, before you reopen, you might want to run a report to find out how many things you sell. So let's say, for instance, I've sold 2,000 waters over the month, right? Now, if that's one of my best sellers, but it's 3 touches away, that's 6,000 touches of the screen. Well, can I move it onto a different part so it's only 2,000 touches? Yeah, so again, if we can try and put all these little things are what are going to make a huge, huge difference. Delivery procedures. So do they have to ring up as soon as do they have to stop in a certain place, ring up, and then we go to them? Or do they just wander in like they do now? I'm not having the wandering in now process, but yeah, feel free. And like I said before, can you make your product booking only? And this way we can control the flow of people coming in and out. And it'll make things much, much easier. You'll know exactly how to fill your space as well, whether it's going to be filled in advance or whether it's not. Now, again, when I went to speak to Tesco's were the main ones that give me feedback, but when I went to Asda, they just confirmed everything that they'd said. And what they basically said is one of the best things they did, and this is only where possible, is they had a different entrance to exit point. So they didn't use the front doors to go in because the front doors are open and there's a vast space. They've used a side door, which is against the side of the building, which means it's easier to line off in queue. And also, when these people come in, they then get them into the one-way system and they don't pass the people who are going out. So the idea behind it, having different doors really, really helped to control the flow of traffic. Having physical barriers. So having a piece of tape or an arrow saying go this way and another one saying go this way. You've all been the supermarket. No one follows them, right? So what the supermarkets have said, you have to have a physical barrier. If there's a physical barrier, they will have to follow it. You've probably seen this outside in the queues where they may have put trolleys in the queue or there's lines in the queue or rope in the queue or whatever it may be. But they said to me, physical barriers are the fella said to me, he said, come and have a look at this. He said, walk down the middle aisle and watch how many people are not following the arrows. So we did. We got to the end aisle. He said, have a look how many people have come through the following aisle and gone to the tills. Well, they can't because there's a physical barrier there. He said, yeah. So the only way you can control it is physical barrier. Other than that, you're hoping that customers are going to follow it, and probably not. And they reiterated conflict training. Please, please, please make sure your staff are prepared. Okay, now how do we phase things in? So is there any virtual offering you can do? Do you have a timetable of offerings or, classes or types of stuff that you could do? If you've got a few sites around the place, could you link all your virtual stuff into one so it becomes a better offering? And are you doing consultations now? So if you're a hairdresser, are you doing online consultations? If anything that you can do to save time. So when that person comes in, you now don't need to spend 10 minutes. You can just get straight on with cutting. Again, with physios or with sports therapists or anyone at all where you need to have some sort of chat to find out what's going on. Can that be done now, and can you start booking it before you open? I think you can. We're sort of doing that now, so I definitely know it's available. Changing rooms. Woo. Okay. Now, obviously, this was a huge problem for me in leisure centres. What a lot of leisure centres have done is said they're not going to open changing rooms, or they might only open swim-only ones because they're a bit of a nightmare. Or they'll have a system where you book your car parking space, you book your place in the gym, and you book your locker, so they can try and control it. But from yourselves, if you've got changing rooms, you've just got to question. They need to be wiped down in between each person, and are they really needed? So what we've said to people in the leisure centres is please come in kit and then go home. Get a shower at home where possible. In terms of toilets, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute, unless you're going to have someone manning the toilet, which I don't think you are. you need to make sure there's some sort of procedure there that doesn't allow too many people to go in a small space in a small time. But we have to sort of push the responsibility back to the customer, saying, can you please wipe these areas? Or it might be a toilet where you might get those covers that go over them and everyone has to use a cover, so then that goes in the toilet. But you've got to think of ways where you're not going to have to run in there every time and sort of give these things a clean. Shielded communities, that's the word I was looking for before. I knew it was somewhere. So shielded communities, what are you going to do for them? So your over 70s, people, illness at risk. Are you going to create certain time slots? They're all early birds then, aren't they? They love getting up early. I know that's a genetic stereotype, I'm sorry, but they do. So, are you going to give them a time slot? So it may be, for instance, that you may do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They can come in first thing in the morning for the first hour. And you might have NHS people doing the other days. Yeah? I'll come on to the NHS in a minute. But what are you going to do for shielded communities? Do you have any drop-off areas? If you do, what are you going to do with them? Working in the community. So when you go out, we know at the minute you can work you and another 5 people as long as social distancing is done. So if your work is taking you outside, we know what we are allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. So obviously that will crank up. This next bit is quite key, really. So heating systems, if they've been turned off for a while, you might need them to be looked at. Any pool or any place where water can be stagnant, then you may need to look at Legionella. So, flushing through showers, flushing through water systems to get all that water out and get it all back in, etc. I'm assuming, it's a crazy assumption, but while you've been closed, you've used this opportunity to touch up your paint, to unblock drains, to sort out all your air conditioning and make sure it's all clean and fully functioning. Air conditioning brings its own issues. I'm going to drop in some information to you on a thing called CIBSE, which is the Chartered Institute of Building and Engineering Supplies, or something like that it's called. But they've done some stuff on air conditioning. Ideally, what they would like is basically if there's a small air supply, if there's no fresh air coming in, you've got to limit the time they've got to be in that room. They don't want you to recycle the same air. So if you can open windows and doors, then that will do. If you can use HEPA filters, that will get away with it. But all the guidelines are built into this CIBSE thing. So I'll get you access to the link so you can get to that and have a look at it. It's a bit messy, if I'm being honest, and it depends what unit you've got. So I'm not going to get too stuck into it. So you can see here, open windows and doors where possible to make sure there's a flow of fresh air. Flushing water systems, electrical testing, gas safety, energy systems, your fire exit signs and signage, how's all that going, emergency lighting, lifts and escalators, pat testing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just trying to give you a list of things that you can go, is this okay? There's a high likelihood it'll be fine, but I'd rather check it was fine than pretend it's fine. So they're the phasing back things for you. Now, we know that this COVID is going to hit people. Now, June is the month it's going to start hitting people as well, because in June, the rent holidays is cancelled or has finished. Now, depending on how your rent holiday worked, is it that they pushed it back and you don't have to pay it, you just got to keep paying forever? Or is it that you've now got to pay double for the next 3 months, or your 4th payment, you've got to pay all those 3 holidays you just had? This is the month it's going to cause a load of pain. So if it's causing a lot of pain, then some organisations may close. What you need to do is you need to make sure you're the ones that are prepared to snap up other people so you're not the one that does close. So what I'm saying here is, how do you capture your new leads? What do you do with them? How do you know they've been followed up? So it's about making sure that I built a sheet into this. It's very, very simple. And it basically is a sheet of paper that you'd have by your telephone or by wherever you work. And anyone that walks in or anyone that calls in with any sort of comment, query, anything at all gets written onto this. You can do this electronically as well, but hey, it's just the idea behind it is very, very simple. And the point being is if I said to you, how many people walked into your business last month, the month before you close, would you know? If you don't know, then we need to work on it, because you probably don't know your average yields and everything else that comes along with it. In terms of feedback, now this is going to be more important than ever. Now there's a few bits. I'm assuming that you've all probably done a survey to all your customers, members and that type of stuff. You've probably done a survey asking them what they expect of you when they come back. So I won't go over old ground covering that. You've probably already done it. But, and we know, I've just done a survey with 65,000 people in the leisure industry. We've got another one for pool swimming lessons with another 40,000 people. And what they're basically saying is they want it clean. They want it clean, and they want you to protect them when they come in. So they want you to follow all this stuff. A lot of people as well, this happened in Germany and Sweden, although Sweden didn't really close. A lot of people are intrigued to see what you're going to do to protect them. So the first rush that you see might not be the people who are actually going to use your business all the time. They're coming to check, and it's not good enough, so I'm going to leave it for a while. So if you've captured that data or you've got that, then you might be able to do something with it. You're going to have incoming feedback. We all get that. That's someone saying this is dirty, that's dirty. Why can't you get this? This person was a pain in the bum, whatever it may be. So you need to know how much feedback you had last month and was it all action? So that's the managing it to completion. But I also think you need to train your staff to go out and get feedback. So what I want to be doing with this is, imagine someone comes into the site. I'm going to say, look, I know you normally know your customers. I'm going to say, can I just do a quick video interview? And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to put the video on. I'm going to say, okay, so what were your thoughts before you came in? You were a little bit worried. Okay, I understand that. Obviously, we all are. God, people are dying. It's really scary. So once you come in, how are you feeling that? Well, honestly, it's really clean, and the staff have been lovely, and there's loads of space, and everyone's really... That's the type of stuff we want on your social media. I nearly carried on doing that video now. So that's the type of stuff that we want on social media, and we want driving this and making sure that it happens. So the key is it's about sending them to go and get feedback, because we know we're only going to get small amounts if we sit and wait for the customers. Okay, and as I say, there's a bit of a template in there for you. Now, this next bit gets a little bit tasty. So you need to, by law, you have to have signage up there. Like I've said, I can get you all different copies of signage if you want. In fact, I'm working with an organisation that's done something for you already. So I've got this organisation, and what they've done is, if you want to just print these out yourselves, you can. If you want them to print them, then they'll print them for you. So they will give you all the proofs. All I'd say is, please don't put 2 meters apart. Just put, please follow social distancing. So then, as and when the guidelines change, you're still going to be valid. Yeah. So putting a 2 meter sticker on when it's 1 meter is not, it's just going to look a little bit crap as it goes a little bit further on. So if you wanted to get any copies of any of this type of stuff, even if it's just the stuff, so you can say, can I have that copy so I can print it myself and use your, they're happy to let you do that. They put the whole campaign together for you. So again, I'll make sure there's a link for this, and this sort of asset goes on. Obviously, we've been doing a load of stuff with the PPE. We know people can't get hold of it. If you think you can get hold of PPE, you probably haven't tried. So that's where, again, we've got another PPE guide that we're going to sort of put up there for you. So if you are struggling, please then revert to this gentleman who's, if I'm being honest, he's already smashed out about 40 or 50 organisations for me in the leisure industry. And as you can imagine, if you talk about Glasgow Life, or you're talking about the velodrome in Wales, or you're talking about the National Water Park in Lee Valley, obviously it's not small change. He's doing some really big stuff here. So we need to have signage. That's fine, on reception and wherever you walk through, in your change rooms, one-way systems, whatever it may be. Who do we need to communicate with? So customers, they need to know what's expected of them, what's expected of us, and what the phasing will look like, so they're not surprised by stuff. In terms of staff, what's the phasing? What's the financial help you can get? What's the well-being stuff that you're doing to make sure that they're not just sitting there having a drink and feeling lazy and eating food? And what training will they have when they come back? Now, this is a classic example of where our government has not, if we'd have used best practice, this would have been brilliant. So our furlough meant our government said, we're going to give you 80% to sit on your bum, right? Which doesn't, of course, it massively helps the business. We know that, and that bit's been brilliant. So thank you, government, right? But we haven't really got them in the mindset of a working mindset. Now, in the Netherlands, what they did, the government paid 90%. The company had to pay the other 10%. Furlough meant that you're not allowed to make or generate money, but you have to improve all your standards. And so they have to improve the cleaning, the standards, the processes. So everyone in the organisation couldn't sit on the bum at home. They all had to improve the business. Now, I'm hoping that's what your staff have been doing. I'm on furlough now, right? I haven't sat on my bum. I put all this together for all you organisations so you can do something, because I thought it would help. I'm a bit of a fan of, you've got a choice. You can either sit around and do nothing, or you can do something. If you do something, then something may come. And if you do nothing, I think you know what the answer is. So we've got to communicate to staff. That's key. Your suppliers, any licensees that you may have in your building, and any partners. So, you know, if I'm the Liso Castle, they may have people who do a bouncy castle. They may have people who do various bits of add-on catering. They may have people who come and do stilt walking. Whatever it may be, if these people stand outside, then we need to know that they all know what your processes are too. Sorry, give me a little wallop of that. So in terms of the communication template, like I said, what I've basically done is there's a guide here, so I'll show you what this looks like. It's basically it's very, very simple, and what it's basically saying is do you understand your situation? So have you done a bit of a SWOT analysis of what your competitors doing, etc. Who do you really want to speak to? Who do you want to speak to? What are the key messages you want to say to them? What are you going to use for that? What channels are you going to use? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it Twitter? Is it an email? Is it direct mail? What is it you're going to do? How much is it going to cost? And when's it going to bloody happen? So the idea behind that, dead simple. It's just a little sheet that basically says who are we communicating, making sure we've got our plan straight. And again, like I was saying before, I'm going to just click on this now. There's a company called Canva. And what they've done is they've kindly produced a shed load of stuff that you can use or you can drop onto social media for you. So again, you'll get all these links, you'll get all these bits and pieces, and hopefully that will help you a little tiny bit in the process of doing all this. So that's cool. Now let me just close these down, because this next bit is the bit that's really, really key. That's why it's got a little star next to it. Now, the testimonials is what I was saying before. This is the little video testimonials. It's that little snippet. It's that little bit that when someone says, you know what, you were much better than I thought, and you say, look, can I just put that on our website today, or whatever it may be, or you ask people to go and, you know, can you do me a favor? Can you jump on Google and tell them we're clean, please? So it's about how can we force people to drive in this good message that we've got. Again, because you've been closed for 7 to 10 weeks, whatever it may be, I'm assuming you've updated all your social media and websites anyway. Now, all I'm saying is, if you've done any feedback, let's say, for instance, your customers are worried it's going to be dirty and they're not going to be safe. Well, then I might do a video of me fog cleaning and pictures of me staff in PPE. And, you know, a picture of the training session that we put together to show them that we're all going to be doing it the same way, etc., etc. So those bits are key. Now, you need to develop some kind of relaunch campaign. So that's exactly what this organisation have done for you. So again, all this is going to be free. You can just print them out yourself, or you can work with them to do it professionally, to speed it up and to make sure it happens effectively. They're not particularly looking for business, but they're willing to help you, if that makes sense. So you can see here, we are getting ready to open. We're excited to get back. We're here, we're open, we're ready. There's all different messages. In here, what you've got is they give you a breakdown of what the plan should look like. Now, I'll give you an example of what we're doing in leisure centres. So in leisure centres, if people carried on paying us, then they're the first people to come back. Now, the people who froze the membership, they're going to be the second phase that are going to come back. Then we're going to aim at ex-members because they understand our product a little bit. And then we're going to open up generally for normal sales, because we know that, you know, if you're a membership organisation, you probably won't have enough people. If you're a business that hasn't got a membership and people just walk in, then you've got to look at ways of now getting them to book. There was a gentleman who sent me some information the other day, and I haven't been able to read it enough. But it was this booking data stuff that I can sit, I walk into your pub, I click on your name, and then it shows me your menu. I order my food. I don't need to go to till. You know what table I'm at because I've put it into the thing. So it's about looking at different ways, etc. We can do that. But in here, this is the marketing plan of how you're going to get back. The digital strategy that you've probably already started leading to. So this says tips on staying healthy, but tips for whatever you do. You know, streaming stuff, posting stuff, etc., etc. So in terms of communication, it's massive. You know, getting the message out there is key. You know, even the government do a daily update. You know, and I don't know about you, but I don't know when you had your last update off the government prior to COVID. But it's really, really important that we get the communication right. If you're a membership-only organisation, consider how you're going to phase them back in, and are you now going to have a blended or a virtual membership? Which, again, I think is so key, especially in this new age. And the last but not least is, again, if you're a membership organisation, do you do a cheap membership for the NHS? Now, I can hear some of you already. I've got a funny feeling that some of you already are going to be thinking that, what about frontline workers? Now, if you can monitor frontline workers, crack on. I can't. I haven't mastered a way of doing it. I can take NHS to probably a blue light, so I can do all police, I can do hospitals, I can do the fire brigade. So that opens it up a little tiny bit more. But you've got to look at how you can monitor this. I think it would be really good if the Chamber of Commerce, basically, if I go to the Chamber of Commerce, I can see everything I'm offered cheap if I'm an NHS person. So it'd be great if we could have one forum to see all the offers that we do across Wirral. And I'm sure that they're looking into doing something like that, because I was speaking to Natalie yesterday. Again, is there a charity event? So imagine if, we've got like, I don't know, 20 odd different organisations on here now. 20 different organisations all go and do an own single charity event. One makes 200 quid, one makes 1,000 quid, one makes 700 quid. Collated, we may have made £15,000. That's going to make the news. It's a better story. Yeah. So how did we pull together to raise all this money to do something for the NHS or whatever it may be? And like I said before, are you going to have any particular hours open just for the NHS, knowing how busy they're working at the minute? Whew! Jesus. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into here and I'm going to see what questions we've got. So let me see. So what is the situation with bathrooms? Do we have to be cleaned each time before someone uses it next? Will they be closed? You cannot close bathrooms. You have to provide, you have to provide running water, and you have to provide a place to be able to relieve themselves in a toilet way. So the idea behind it is that, what you really need to do, you really need to educate the customer to wipe down after themselves. So, if I'm in a cubicle and there's a little pack of wipes on the wall, can you please wipe the seats and can you please wipe the toilet roll holder? We've got to try and educate them to do this for us. If not, it's never gonna happen. Now, you've got to understand that I'm also selling the euphoria of exactly what is needed. But you've probably all been to supermarkets where it hasn't quite happened that way, but they've tried. What you've got to show as an organisation is how you're trying and what you're willing to do with it. So I hope I've answered that question. Are there any more questions? In fact, before we go any further, I've got one more poll, and it's this one. Has this session helped you with your planning? I just want to get a little feel to whether you feel that this has helped, and once you get all your hands on all these tools, will this help you to drive your business a little bit further? Okay, we've hit 5 out of 5. Thank you very much. That's a pleasure. It's nice that when you've done a load of work for other people, that they do appreciate it. So that's your sign of you saying that this is good. So I'm happy that we're doing this thing, and that's perfect. Right, it looks like I've had another question in the Q&A. This is brilliant. Okay, so that's Dave. That's fine. So basically, Dave's interested in looking at getting this spray. I'll go through that with you, Dave. I think there's a whole host of things that we can sort of do to help people to sort of collate. Are there any other questions at all from all you lovely people? If anyone wants to go to the bit where you can put your hand up and I can turn your mic on. So if anyone wants to ask a question, we can do it that way as well. Deborah, I am now going to allow you to talk. So if you can, Philippe, if you can just give me 1 second, and I'll be with you in a second. I'm just going to do Deborah first. So Deborah, in a second, when this little twirly thing stops spinning round, you should now be able to speak, Deborah.
Just wondering, with the government guidelines of the 4th of July for hair and beauty industry, is this a definitive answer, or could it be changed, do you think?
Every plan is a moving plan. So every single thing, I do an update for the UK. So I'm working with the Welsh government, the Scottish government, and I'm working on behalf of the Chartered Institute. And I have to do an update every week to try and interpret the new guidance that's come out, because people make it into a grey area and it starts turning into like Chinese whispers. So any guidelines that have come out, they are not static in any way, shape or form. It's only for that period of time until the next guidance comes out. If you've got anything like that and you want to send it across to me, I'm happy to have a look so I can pick stuff out that may help you. Is that okay, Deborah? Does that answer your question?
It does, yes, thank you. Like you said, there's a lot of speculation about when you just don't know what's true and what's not true.
Well, that was why I tried to put this session on, because the Chinese whispers is murder.
Isn't
My
it?
wife
Yeah, it is.
my wife runs her own studio, and they were like, well, we're not sure what's happening. I'm like, look, I'm doing this for the government, and no one knows yet. So how you've heard
Yeah.
stuff that I don't know is beyond me. So that's why I thought I've got to turn this into something to make it easier for people to understand. So I'm
And we
glad it's
appreciate you doing
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Philippe, you will be able to ask your question in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, fire away, Philippe.
Hello, sorry mate, I've had to mute you a couple of times as I am currently working at the moment. I was just wondering whether the resources that you've been showing us today were going to be downloadable for us to look through afterwards. I'm not sure whether you stated that at the beginning or not.
Yeah, I've videoed it, and there'll be one email that comes from. I'll speak to the Chamber of Commerce. It'll come from I don't want to send you any emails because I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell and trying to blag you into anything. So I'm going to hand all you. I want one email sent off the Chamber of Commerce with all the stuff that I've talked about, all the links, all the different bits and pieces, and they're going to put the video on the. I've got a YouTube video that'll go onto the website so people can see this again if you know anyone else that needs it.
Lovely, cheers, thank you, mate.
All right, mate, no problem. Any other questions? Anyone else want to put their hand up? So let me just 1 second, lower that hand. And Helen Wade, you will be with me in a second. I reckon 5 seconds of this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, blew it. Come on, Wi-Fi, you can do it. Come on. Helen, one of our Wi-Fis is not playing the game. Do you want to try and ask the question in the Q&A for me, Helen, if you haven't already? I'll come back to Anne's question in a second. Helen, it's not letting me, it's for some reason, it just keeps spinning. It's not letting me connect to your microphone. So if you could please ask that question in the Q&A, that'd be perfect for me. Now, I've just had a question in the Q&A. Is Dettol good enough for cleaning? Well, I'm not
has
sure.
It done it now?
What's that?
I think it's
Are
done
you
it
in?
now. Yes, I think
Okay,
so.
Helen, fire away.
I've actually got 2 questions. So one of the first question is just the resources, because I'm not actually a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So I was just wondering whether they'll still be accessible for me.
Helen, one of the reasons why we're doing this, we're trying to show you the type of resource that you get when you become a partner of them.
I see.
So the idea behind it, this is open to anyone, but if you're in them, there's so many more resources that will help your business and structure to get things out. So that's why we've sort of done this session. So yes, you can still get them. Second question.
The reason that we're not a member is just because we're a charity and we don't have that we don't have very much money coming in. So that's the reason why I haven't joined previously.
I'm sure they'll do a cheap charity membership for you now we've flagged it.
We'll see. The other question was just around furlough, when you mentioned that people are doing things while they're on furlough, because I was under the impression that people weren't allowed to work at all while they were on furlough.
They're allowed to volunteer, and as long as it doesn't make any money for the organisation, it's absolutely fine.
Oh, right, great. Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
So they have to agree with it, and it has to. So I couldn't do something that's going to make my company money. So I couldn't say, now, for instance, I can do this because this is helping people, but I couldn't charge you for it. I actually could, but the reality is, because I'm actually not on furlough now, but I'm still not charging. But the reality is yes, you can. And obviously, once the new rule kicks in July, you any time that you pay for, obviously you're in control of everything they do during that time.
Right. Okay. We're a non-profit anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So everything you do goes back into the business anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
All right, Helen. Thank you. Glad it helped. Okay, Mr. Goodman, I will be with you in 1 second, sir.
I'll note to Helen, who's just come on. If you can share your details with me, we'd like to help you as a charity with some PPE, if we may. We're supporting a lot of businesses through the chamber and a lot of charities. So as a business, if we can help you out, if you're a non-profit business, then we'd like to help you out with some with a gift of PPE, if that's okay.
Just give a hand up if you can, Deborah. Perfect. So, Goody, have you got any questions for me, or did you just have one for Helen?
No, it was, that was just for Helen, pal. That was just for Helen. Just to let Helen know that, if I can take her details or we can get her details, then, I'll get in touch with her and see if we can help her out with some PPE. We're trying to help anyone.
We'll make sure, Dave, that all your details are added as part of this, as part of the follow-up, because, like I said before, even if they do have a PPE provider, and I know that they're probably not going to be able to get hold of anything anyway.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense that we find somebody who can try and find stuff for them, and not only just, that PPE companies that haven't got anything left, so that's fine. Right, okay. Any other questions at all? No more hands up. That's everyone. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. You will get an email in the next, hopefully it'll be pretty soon after this. I'll have a chat with the Chamber of Commerce, and worst case scenario, if they're not going to be able to get stuff on their website quick enough, I'll put it onto a thing called WeTransfer and send you a link where you'll then be able to download all the bits that you need. Because after you go through this type of thing, it's key that you get hold of the plan and start looking at it and thinking, right, what are we going to do? Some of you may be either open now or having to open it, middle of June. And there's a lot to do. So I'm glad you've enjoyed the session. Oh, we've got another question kicking in. Sorry, I just had a quick one. Oh, no, it's not a question. It's a thank you. Thank you. Yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to now stop the recording.